What's up, guys? Welcome back. My name's Jake, if you don't know me already, and I make these big old blades. This is the one from the previous video. I kind of cleaned it up, as you can see, but I sold it, so it's gonna be gone here soon. So I gotta make me another one, but this time we aren't working a slab. We're gonna be working a boulder of candy Flint River chert. I got this from Mr. Jeff Head, as I usually get my chert from. At least the Flint River chert. The stuff from Alabama I usually collect myself. And so what I'm gonna do is put a glove on. I like to do that when I'm working these big pieces, and also have my safety glasses on. And then, can you see it? Just get to napping. Now, Flint River kind of has a special place in my heart. I don't live too far away from the Flint River, and my dad and I used to go fishing for shoal bass out on the Flint River, and we had a ball. Didn't get to go as often as we'd like to, but maybe one day that'll change. Nonetheless, this chert is just beautiful. Especially the candy stuff like this. I mean, it just doesn't get much better than that. Thumbnail worthy? Maybe? No. All right, I got a little bucket to keep all my flakes. Definitely not gonna put those to waste. All right, so just gonna kind of take it step by step, see where I want to make my next strikes, and hopefully finish out with a big old blade. All right, now Flint River is technically coastal plains chert. It's really one of the purest varieties of it, although I favor the Alabama stuff because it has a little bit more color. It is nice to kind of work some of this, which generally is more consistent. You're not going to have many shells, at least in the better pieces, in this kind of material. So got a good platform set up right here. It's kind of low, decently low enough. And I think we abraded enough where it can do some damage. Yep. And we're just gonna get spall after spall here. This is the fun part of Flintnapping, is when you're working the larger stuff and kind of getting down to the nitty gritty. At least it is for me. This is the process I really enjoy the most. But nonetheless, I want to teach you guys a little something. I was thinking about it today. 5 S's to make you a better flint napper. Now, I did a video similar to that working Tallahassee, and I kind of said some of the same stuff, but this was like 3 years ago. So here are my 3 S's. Maybe I can remember them. Number 1, know your stone. Know your stone. Every stone's gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna have different properties, do different things. It's gonna take flakes differently. You have to do different platforms. You know, this is gonna be different than Tallahassee. This will be a little bit more sandy. Have to set more of a platform on this one. But they just release a little bit differently. Just like this is gonna release differently than obsidian. Just gotta kind of gotta take that into consideration. Also, recognize, is it heated, is it not heated? Does it need heat? Can it take heat? And this is just raw. As you know, I work most every piece of Flint River raw. I mean, why not? It just does really well for me. But I have heated some in the past, and honestly, if I'm making smaller points, the heating process can kind of glass them up and make the piece look a little bit better. So know your stone. Every stone's going to be different. There's one hit you can make on one stone that you might not be able to make on another. And the more practice you have with a given stone, the better you'll get. Let's see if I can remember number 2. Oh yeah, number 2. Know how to support a piece. Now that just comes with practice. I really suggest getting a pair of gloves. It just helps. You know, to be able to feel where the flake is coming off. As many of you know, you've probably heard me say from time to time, like, oh, that strike just felt really good. Well, that's because I'm feeling the strikes that I'm hitting. And I could tell, oh, based on how I'm supporting the stone, that released really well. Or that didn't release very good at all. Or, I wonder what happened there. And so, make sure you give the right support. Now again, that varies depending on how heavy a bopper you have, what you're trying to accomplish with each bopper. And ultimately, it's going to differ whether you're working a large piece like this or something very thin like this coral preform. You know, support's going to be a lot different. Whether you hold it in your hand, keep it on a leg pad, or you're just bracing for impact on something large like this, support is key. Mostly when you're striking in, you want to make sure you're holding it very well, that there's little to no teeter-totter, you know. Is that, what's that kid's ride at the playground? Is it a teeter-totter? Is that what it's called? A back and forth, you know, the thing that goes, people sit on both sides. Y'all know what I'm talking about though, right? Yeah. Now, say we have a bopper like this, I recognize that I don't want to really strike here as much as I want to strike on the side. And, you know, I can then go from there. And even on a strike from the base, as long as I'm striking in and not doing this number and making it do that, but I'm striking in, and there's enough thickness in the middle, and I got enough support, and the back end is supported, the bulk of it is supported on the pad, and I strike in, and these strikes, don't want to cut myself. You just don't have to worry about them anymore. But support will be different depending on the piece that you have, as always. Now, number 3. What was number 3? What was number 3? Strike? It wasn't strike. It was shoot. That's what it was. To shoot. Now, what do I mean by shoot? Well, I mean exactly that. To shoot straight in. So I'm going to set up an example here where I want to shoot straight in, and it's going to relieve a lot of this mass. Now, for beginners, you know, maybe this isn't the best thing to learn, but you got to learn it eventually, is that you don't just want to, I ran over the cortex. But eventually you want to thin this piece out and get it, you know, up to this material. And so shooting in rather than down, but shooting and taking the bulk of the force in your hand is going to be better in the long run. And say you don't get a ton of mass off those flakes, you can always, let's do this here. You can always just hit in the cavity where that strike was given, and then you have two additional areas to strike right on in. Now this one might not work. It depends on how this hole holds up. And it didn't hold up that great. It kind of beveled straight out. Oh, actually, before shoot, I was gonna do the fourth one, which is set up. You gotta set up your platforms. Now, sometimes you don't have to. You just kind of hit above the edge, and you got enough meat there, and you're not really hurting anything. Especially when you're thinning a piece down, you don't always have to do that. But to set up a platform, you generally want a low spot, not super low, unless you're trying to overshoot the whole piece and get a flake that runs all the way across. But lower than center line. Now this flake is going to accomplish something in particular. This is a cavity here. This is a very bulky area. You can see where the ridge goes. You don't always follow the ridge. I mean, say that there's a thicker area over here, even though the cortex and the chert meet here. If there's a thicker ridge here, well, you'll want to run straight. But because the thickness kind of revolves around this, and I want to try to get close to this level here, I'm going to shoot back and across and try to cut out this layer. Now it's isolated on one side kind of naturally. Isolated meaning this is kind of low-hanging fruit. This side is not so isolated, but that's okay because we're going to run this way, and that'll leave a scar here in the middle. I'll show you that in a moment, that we can drive this way to accomplish the same goal in this low area. Step number 5, find your bopper. All right. So we followed that ridge. We did exactly what we were wanting to do. And see this line? That line, we were talking about it earlier. When you strike this way, it'll leave a line here and here. Usually cutting the piece in half and then this way, and then the direction just kind of cuts through the middle. And you get a nice spot. Again, we want to do the same thing kind of up here. And honestly, we want to get a little closer. This is a little far away. So I'm going to take a bopper. I think we're close enough now. Let's see if we can braid this. Again, kind of, it's already low on this side, or low and high. And this is just kind of whatever. This side doesn't have to be. Especially since I don't mind cutting out right there anyways. So here we go. Probably gonna shoot more, not as diagonally across. We will probably follow that ridge. The thickness, well, I guess the thickness does lie right there on that line. So. All right. And shot it a little bit differently. I did it a little more in. Notice it followed the line, but more so the bulk. And that's what I was seeing initially. Maybe the camera didn't pick it up well. But we definitely have a good area here to strike. And so we'll see about doing it here. There we go. And that one easily ran the ridge. You can see the thickness, how kind of a mountain hilltop along the center line of that. See the bulb of percussion here? And it followed because it had some meat. And generally when we talk about convexity, we talk about, you know, a little bit of rounding, just slight rounding. See how this is slightly rounded? It's more like that than it is like, okay, that was a bad, okay, y'all are gonna take that a different way. Sorry about that. Okay, well, I don't have the other bopper that I need right now. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of beat the shape in, just a tad. And by beating the shape in, you kind of get this rounding effect on either side, rather than just flatness. I don't have another, rather than just flatness, which this one actually has a good ridge, or flatness here. You now have some rounding that you can use to your benefit, okay? All right. And honestly, we're about at a good stopping point. You know, just where it comes to drawing large flakes. And pads down here. Usually I have a thicker pad to protect my leg. I have a smaller pad. This one's easier to wallop off. This thicker one's takes a little more effort. And oh, the last S. Well, the last S that I thought of was to sign, like sign your work. I'll have to do that in another video. Okay, so slightly below center line, have plenty of mass to draw off, and gives us a ridge here, possibly to follow. We don't want to shoot here, because if we shoot there, we want to shoot that direction. So we want to clip this off and probably shoot from here or from here. This one we want to shoot from here after we clean up this. And sometimes just kind of gouging out an area can really lower a couple areas and kind of help you out with whatever you're trying to accomplish next. Now generally I like to thin the base out first. Didn't quite do that. Kind of a good opportunity to do it now. But again, kind of want to save some of this for the next video. Just wanted to share some of these little tips with you. Do I have any more tips? Well, I guess setting up, you know, there's a good good platform here. Notice it's below center line, center of the piece. It's kind of got a good V shape. However, you notice it does have a ridge to follow, because if I was just shooting into here, it wouldn't do anything, because that's flat. But it's Cortex, and if I can help it, from either side, I want to try to clip some of that off. I think we got enough of it there. And usually I just make sure to braid down. I braid up if I need it to come a little bit further down. Then I braid this way to kind of make sure it's pleasant when it hits this. Everybody has different braiding tactics. Now this isn't the bopper I need, but I guess we'll use it for this occasion and allow for it to work. But let's stop there. Got a nice, I wouldn't even call it a biface yet, just kind of thinning the joker down. It's honestly not super long either. It's about 10 inches to this tip. And width on the base is a little over 5 1/8. And, you know, you just use some different boppers. If you got steel, use steel. It's not ideal. It's not ideal to use steel, but if that's what you got, it's what you got. And we also got some flakes. Now I actually filled this bucket up the last boulder I did, and I gave it to my buddy Lewis. I don't know what I'll do this time, but that's where my waste flakes will go. With all that being said, I'll show off my obsidian blade one last time. And we'll work on a part 2 in the next video. So stay tuned. Maybe you'll see something like this in that video. You won't see this, because I gotta ship it off. But all right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching.